What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode today of the Career Mode. When you're watching this episode, I will be at my coaching course doing my second to last session. So I won't be around to answer any comments or anything put on this video, but don't worry, guys. I will check them out after I come back, because today's episode, you guys need to leave me some more signing suggestions. I thank you all for all of the suggestions left. I took a look at the time of recording this, and there was a bunch of comments. There was one that had over 10, 11, 12 suggestions. So I took a few of those, shortlisted them, and we had a look at a couple of them, and I'll go through them in more detail later on through the episode as we will get into it. But the first thing I wanted to mention was squad numbers. This season they've changed, so last year, for example, Arp was in the 40s for his squad number, and a few other people as well. Davies was number 15. The squad numbers have changed. So I decided, because it was season 2 now, to give the players that are going to play an integral role this season, I would change around the squad numbers. So Arp now has number 9, which means the centre-back that we had, Papadopoulos, has gone from number 9 to number 5. Davies has got number 7, so another one of the marquee numbers, I guess you could say, as well for the club, which has gone to Alphonso Davies. So I'm putting my faith in these young kids, you know. Arp with number 9, Davies with number 7. So that is the reason I did those two. Give them the, I guess, confidence that I have faith in them to take us forward. Of course, in today's episode as well, we will be partaking in our first taste of Champions League football when we take on Copenhagen for a double leg header for a chance to play in the Champions League. This one is, of course, the qualification round. Without it, we won't be in it. If we lose it, we don't get Champions League football. So we have to win in the overall of the 2 legs in order to get in there. So that is the main aim for today's episode. But we've got some new players joining us and some fresh faces at the club, including some players leaving as well. I'll go into more detail when they do pop up on your screen, as I said. But just know I thought about these signings before I made them, and I actually had a budget of around £30 million for this upcoming season. I said to you guys that I think we need to focus on depth rather than quality, because we're going to be playing a few more games this season. It's going to take its toll a little bit as well on the players. So pre-season tour did not go to plan. We were knocked out in the group stages of that one. Again, though, you guys know I have no intentions when it comes to the pre-season tour. I honestly don't care, and so I wasn't too worried about it. Now, we move on to the signings, and the first one, which I looked at, was Rodrigo Bentancur. He was actually suggested by one of you guys in the previous comments of the last episode. I thought this signing made sense because I was actually looking to get rid of Andy Carroll as part of a swap deal. So I offered him to Juventus. They turned it down, said they were looking for a left-back, and they accepted Douglas Santos plus £10 million for Rodrigo Bentancur. And I was like, what? That's 18.5 if you add it together. But in the grand scheme of things, I think that's a really, really cheap deal for a quality central midfielder. It works even better because we already have Torreira at the club. So my midfield too this season, once we sign Bentancur, which is exactly what we do there, is going to feature 2 of the hottest Uruguayan prospects there is. Torreira and Bentancur are going to be Hamburg's central midfielders this season. If there's ever a time to have a young squad that's hungry for success, that looks like it's going to be good, now is it. Torreira, Bentancur as the midfielders. Then I took a look at this young man, Benjamin Pavard, just won the World Cup with France in real life, of course. I did actually look at Douglas Santos, who was a suggestion actually, he's been a long-term suggestion on the series. Problem was, when I went to sign him from Nantes, it came up saying that he was too important for the club to sell. Then I realised a bit later on down the line that then had changed and I could have made the signature. But after that had already happened, I'd already signed Benjamin Pavard. So 2 new signings to the club. Bentancur in, Pavard in. Both of them not really costing a whole lot out of the transfer budget. A measly 20 million plus Douglas Santos between the 2 of them. Then I looked at Callum Hudson-Odoi, another suggestion in the series. Initially agreed a £1 million deal for him from Chelsea. But then I saw his wage demands and I was like, what? For somebody 67 rated at only 17 years of age, who quite simply won't get first team football right now, I couldn't justify spending 41 grand a week. I'm sorry guys, I couldn't do it. The smart in me just said no. You know, like I like a bargain. I'm partial to a bargain, right? And it just didn't make sense for me to do that. Like, I know I gave Andy Carroll 110 grand a week when he came to us, but that one was more of a comical one. Now we move forward in the series, I have to think, you know, about the profits and such. So, speaking of Andy Carroll, he's actually gone. He's leaving to go and join Newcastle United, not for the first time in his career, of course, returning up there in order to play his football back in England, back with the side that People remember him from, of course, I certainly remember him from Newcastle. He scored a couple of goals against Arsenal when I used to watch the game back in the day, and it really annoyed me. But yeah, he's gone back to Newcastle. £9.5 million is what they paid for him, and that was that. So with the two new additions in, Bentancur and Pavard, we'd sold Lasonga, we'd sold, Andy Carroll. We'd also sold one more player, I can't remember who it was, Andre Hahn, that's it. He's also left the club and gone. 3 outgoings, 2 incomings, but one of the more important signings of this one was to actually tie Arp down to a long-term contract. So we managed to do that. He is now on a 4-year deal here at Hamburg. That's mainly down to the fact that I didn't want his contract to run out. He had 11 months left as well, so I was trying my hardest to obviously keep him at the club as long-term as I could. And so I decided that 4-year deal, keep him here. He's, of course, going to be our number 1 striker this season alongside Bobby Reid. But speaking of which, I think we need one more striker, actually, because Bobby Reid and Feet Arp currently are the only 2 strikers at the club, actually strikers. So might need to look at signing another striker to the team. However, we started off our Champions League journey when we took on Copenhagen away from home in order for the first leg here of this, I guess, qualification round. And we actually took the lead early on. It was Halilovic with the finish from this one. A really nice move on the edge of the area. He's also been given the number 10 shirt this season after Andy Carroll has departed the club. So big shoes for him to fill. So that's kind of, you got to look at it this way, guys. I said it's a young side in the last one, and I did want to give them like the squad numbers that meant something. You know, number 9's a big number for Feet Up to take right now. Number 7's a big number for Davies to take. You know, we've got Halilovic at number 10. We've got Bentancur at number 6. Torreira's number 11 this season. Holtby still has that number 8 shirt. And speaking of Rodrigo Bentancur, there he is to give us a second goal on the 32nd minute. A towering header in the box. It's like having Little and Large in the midfield now. We've got Torreira 5'6", Bentancur 6'2". So it's Little and Large, I'm going to call them from now on, the 2 Uruguayans in the heart of our midfield. But the pressure really did continue. And it's kind of that thing where I was looking at this game thinking to myself, we're clearly good enough to be playing in the Champions League, but I'm not sure we're good enough to get out of the group if we do get there, because this is the qualification round. So these are the type of areas where you're looking at this thinking, even though it should theoretically be a tough game, we should win it, you know? And that was a brilliant double save, by the way, from Olsen to deny us 3-0 there. We pretty much put the game to bed if that goes in. So really, really good save. But then we did actually find another one eventually after Kostic hits the bar here. Honestly, I don't know how on earth we didn't score that. But then, pretty much from the goal kick, he sent it up. I edited a little bit out. We then played Halilovic in again, and he grabbed his second of the evening with a little dink over the top of Olsen. Our new number 10 showing why we gave him the shirt. And that pretty much sends us now, hopefully, through to the Champions League group stages, where we will meet our group stage and see who we're going to face. But, of course, I'm saying it like we're already through. I'm just going off the basis of how we played in this first leg, because the way we did play was good enough, in my opinion, to be playing Champions League football, as Bentancur just basically said, there you go, mate. You know, Halilovic, you want to? Well, I can get to myself as well. And there's the large of the little and large combination, making a mark in his first game in a Hamburg shirt since signing from Juventus. I'm really excited, actually, to see how this team's going to perform in the Bundesliga, because it really is good. We've got so many good young players, especially Alphonso Davies. He's going to have a good year, I think, here now. It's his first full season at the club. You know, we saw the dangers that he can possess when it came to the end of last season in the Bundesliga. He was causing problems for teams, and he was running in behind and making, you know, a nightmare for defenders. And he's going to do that again this season, especially in the Champions League as well. Can you imagine the nights that Hamburg will play? There's likes of the, you know, the Nou Camp, the Santiago Bernabeu, the Parc des Princes, even Old Trafford for that matter. It's going to be some special nights ahead of us here as we win the first leg 4-0. And as I mentioned, that should see us now through to the Champions League group stages. But we did have to play the second leg, which you're going to see clips of on the screen. And as I said, you know, I already knew that we were through with that 4-0 win. We'd have to have a pretty catastrophic collapse here, really, in order for us to effectively go out. But I wanted to ask you guys, do you think I did a good enough job in kind of changing around the player numbers? Like, would you have given numbers to different players? For example, I gave Art the number 9. Would you have potentially not given him it? Would you have done it to someone else? I gave Davies the number 7. Would you have given that to the likes of Kostic, maybe? I decided to give it to Davies and Art. I just felt like these guys are the future, and so I had to kind of think about it that way. And really reward them, I guess, for the form that they showed last season towards the back end of it. And it's going to be a big step up for him this season. So I decided as well the numbers might help in that case. We switched around the side, actually, for this return leg against Copenhagen. Bobby Reid started up front, so no Arp. A couple more changes as well. Van Drongel at the back. no Papadopoulos. Pavard still played. We actually had a 17-year-old fullback at left back because of an injury sustained in the last game in which we featured here in this one to our normal left back, what's his name? For the life of me, his name's eluded me. It'll come back to me. Bristol City left back that joined us. Why is his name? I don't know why his name's eluded me. It'll come back to me though. But yeah, so he sustained an injury to him, and so we had to name a young 17-year-old left back, which he really did show his inexperience, because we were 2-0 up in the game, and then we ended up conceding twice within the space of about 5-10 minutes for it to go back to 2-2. And that then pretty much put it to all square in the night, but 6-2 on aggregate. That damage was really done in the first leg. I knew for a fact that after that 4-0 win came, that was going to be it, really. And there you go. So, Joe Bryan, that's the guy's name, our fullback that joined from Bristol City. I think it is anyways. Yeah, that's the name that's in my head. So if it's not, I apologise. But there you go. So yeah, injury to him meant we don't actually have him for the next 3 weeks. So that's pretty much made my mind up. I needed to go out and buy a left back after this game, and you'll see who I pick up right before the episode ends. But we do get back on winning terms here as Halilovic continues his good run of form against Copenhagen. Great turn on the edge of the area before continuing into it and just finding that bottom corner really underneath the goalkeeper. It's a smart finish, and that's trademark of Halilovic this season. I think he's going to be important, as is a few of the other players in this squad. But in terms of our spine of the team now, we've got a really good spine. My only worry is potentially Paul Lopez in goal. He is our new number one. Whether or not he's going to be good enough for the role is yet to be seen, because he did concede 2 goals here. And the first one, I wasn't too happy with him conceding it. If you rewind it back, you'll see what I mean. But we went on to go on and actually win the game quite comfortably here. 4-2 in front, and then another one just before the full-time whistle. Again, Halilovic making this one. And Benjamin Pavard scoring his first Hamburg goal there with a header. And he might be interesting to see how he's going to progress this season. Of course, won the World Cup with France in real life. Didn't actually go with France in the game in 2018 in this one, but that is the way it goes. And after the full-time whistle went, it was a 5-2 win for Hamburg. 9-2 win on aggregate, meaning we will play Champions League football this upcoming season. So more games to come. Difficult season this year. We're going to have to fight in the Bundesliga and the Champions League, which means we're pretty much going to write off the Deutsche Pokal for now until we have a good enough squad depth to really be fighting in all, competitions. But I've got to say this, that win over the 2 legs, 9-2 on aggregate, might pay dividends, because that might give us the confidence we need moving forward to fight with some of these bigger teams in the competition. Now, on to the left-back situation. Steven Zuber. Is it Steven? I don't actually know. But Zuber is joining from Hoffenheim. He's proven Bundesliga quality in left-back, so he's going to join us, hopefully. I was looking to swap deal for straight up for one of our other players, Wallace, but they turned it down and then offered a £6 million transfer fee, which they only said they wanted 6.5. So I was like, all right, well, fair enough. Let me go ahead and offer him a contract. He only had a year left on his deal, which is probably why they were willing to accept such a low fee for already proven quality in the Bundesliga. As I mentioned, that Diego Carlos situation, since me actually doing that and actually looking at the signing of him, it's now swapped from the club won't sell to I'd have to offer a certain region of money. So I can go back in for him if you want me to, but that is up in the air and to be debated, because Pavard's come in since then as well. That is how Stuber looks currently in terms of his attributes. Some good quality attributes all over the place. Can play in numerous positions, left wing back, left midfield. So good squad depth to have as well. He will feature for our Bundesliga start at the beginning of the season, as we will have out Joe Bryan for that one. But that is our Champions League group on your screen. PSG in there, Napoli and Villarreal. So 3 really tough teams. I'm excited for it though. Hopefully you guys are as well. And I'll see you all for the next episode in this series very soon, guys. If you are new around here, like what you see, the subscribe button is down below. And I'll catch you all again very soon. See you all soon, guys. Adios.